building a trellis. So in this video, I'll be showing you how I set up my trellis. And I started off with one trellis and got carried away and decided to make more to utilize the space better. And the good thing is it can be pretty cheap, but can take a good amount of effort. So the idea is pretty much making your own stakes, and I had this scrap piece of wood from a picket and used it as a template to draw on a 8-foot long 1x2. And I think that 1x2s are probably the most ideal option for this kind of project, and I'll explain why later. And the price of wood can sometimes fluctuate a lot, but at the time I got these, it was maybe around $1.50 each. And when putting in the stakes, I highly recommend using some type of work gloves. Whoops, but without them, there's a lot of shock that goes through the stakes when hammering them in, and this is definitely the hardest part of the project. I hammered the 96-inch stake to 81 inches, so that's 15 inches into the ground, which is the most I could do. This section of my garden is curved, so it was a little tricky with the alignment, but I didn't care that it wasn't that perfect. And here's a sped up clip of me hammering the stake, and it is tough. I didn't have a higher ladder and my shoulders were burning after this. I took a break because my shoulders were dying and decided to cut some of the horizontal pieces for the trellis. And I tried to get it as level as I could with my tri-square, and I put the bottom piece first. And then I put in the top piece, trying to align it with the tri-square. And then it was on to the second half of this gauntlet, putting in the stakes. And then sometimes a piece would chip off. I try to make these two trellises even by using another piece to make sure that it's level. And I did the same with the bottom. And because the ground is uneven, I had to make it level relative to the other trellis. And then I measured up every 8 inches except for the highest one because I was just really too lazy to calculate the spacing evenly. And for the right trellis, I ended up using 2 pieces since there were leftover scraps from the horizontal pieces of the left trellis. After putting these up, they were really wobbly, so I decided to connect them with pieces in the back. But afterwards, it was still really shaky. Alright, let me put a piece in the front and that should solve the problem. Dang. Here, let's put up some bracings on the corner. Surely this should take care of my... Oh my... Alright, my last trick out of the bag was making this X pattern in the back and the top. Alright, not too bad. And then I did the same across the whole top of the trellis. Alright, and the last shake test, in case some violent winds or an earthquake comes, let's see. Alright, success. And I wanted to talk about why using 1x2s is ideal. Because this trellis isn't exactly precise, you'll notice a lot of these pieces aren't necessarily flush with the studs. They're drilled in actually at an angle, which still actually makes it work. And 1x2s are also pretty bendable, unlike something thicker like a 2x2 or a 2x4 piece. So I would highly recommend using these for the project. Here's a view of the top of the stakes after taking a beating from the hammer. And now time to plant some watermelon. And I've seen that they can grow vertically like any other vine, fruit, or vegetable, and this will be my first time growing these. And if you're pretty new to gardening like myself, I found out that vines don't like grabbing onto thicker pieces, and unfortunately these 1x2s are too thick, and so I ended up lacing twine through the trellis along with some dead branches, and they seem to like wrapping around those just fine. And here's a before and after video of my kabocha squash and corn seedlings, and it's crazy to think it's grown so much in about a little over a month. And I definitely didn't realize how much space they would take up, and it might be a bit crowded, but I guess that's something to consider next season. Here's some close-ups of the young kabocha that's developing and some watermelon varieties that I've been working on. So I hope these were some helpful tips of things to consider when making a trellis on your own. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to see new content, and we'll see you next time.